Everyone, what's up? This is Copycat the Great. This is another We Are the Great Movement podcast. I have a special guest with me today. Go ahead.
Hey, how's it going, guys? This is It's Just Nevada.
Yep, and our guest today, we are just gonna get into little something. He's gonna introduce himself. He's gonna give you his take on things, and we'll just see how things play out. All right, so first of all, let's go ahead. You introduce yourself. Let people know your message, your music, and whatever you want to promote, we'll save that to the end, and of course, I'll link that up on the website as well.
Okay. Well, all right. So my name's Nevada. It's Just Nevada is like, I guess, my pseudonym with my website / entertainment structure side of promotional stuff.
All right.
I'm a music / rapper. I go by Kaotic One, but I also play guitar and make guitar loops for producers / beat makers. Recently, really just got into making quality music rather than just putting out whatever I could to get, attention /
Yep.
views.
That's what it's about,
plays,
man. Just networking. Yep. Get your network.
And trying to do shows and trying to get my name out there as an artist rather than playing the quote unquote rapper part, because I've been doing this since high school, since 2006 when I graduated. In high school, okay. I started, but I really haven't started till now, like 3 weeks ago.
Yep, definitely time for it now too.
Yeah, with the quarantine and the stimulus checks and everything, I saw an opportunity where it was like, okay, do I want to keep playing around, or do I want to actually invest in myself? Like everybody keeps saying, you got to have money to make money. You got to put in money. You got to put money where your mouth is. And it's kind of sad to say when it comes to the music industry and everything, but at the same instance, if you want people to take you serious, you got to put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah, definitely.
It's also work, time, dedication, consistency, finding other artists, promoters, producers, beat makers, people that are doing it consistently, that's their mindset, that the only thing they think about, and it's not like they don't have a life and like families and kids, and which makes it really difficult when they're trying to do this as an artist. Like, I'm 32. Like I said, I just started really putting time and money into it, but I tried to start 3 years ago, and because of the lack of, I guess, confidence or motivation, having somebody behind me to say, you can do this. Now, I've always had like family say, yeah, we think you're good. I've had friends always tell me, yeah, you're good, you should do it. But like when it comes to putting a video out or a song that I record on my phone, because for the longest time, up until 3 weeks ago when I got everything, I would get Fruity Loops mobile on any phone that I could get, hope that the processor was good enough to run Fruity Loops and run a notepad or whatever program I was writing the lyrics on, and get a okay set of headphones that has a mic in it also. And that's how I was making music for the last 2 years. And
right, so yeah, that's definitely, get it out there however you
finessing,
can.
Hustling.
Work with what you got, basically. Yeah, definitely.
But you get people who hear that, who have equipment, who have dedication and time, who put money into getting their stuff mixed down. Because there's a lot of, I guess, subsections when it comes to, I don't know what you know about the music industry or anything with recording or getting your stuff out there or doing shows or
I've learned quite a little bit since I've started interviewing people. And it all basically, like you're saying, it basically boils down to almost like who you know, the quality of your production and your editing, and just all these little intricate parts for your whole, your artistry there.
Right. But in the same instance, it's really like, for me, the biggest part was just I'm not good enough. And it wasn't that I wasn't good enough. It was I wasn't willing to listen. Like, it took this guy 2 weeks ago. Okay, so a month and a half ago, I stumbled upon him in this music group I was a part of, and he's like, "Hey, anybody want to hear this track that I got?" And I'm gonna shout him out. His name's Ill Millie, because of the dedication and time he spent with me. But got the track, downloaded it, listened to it. I've been listening to that thing probably every day, if not every other day, every morning I wake up, because it's such a hype, motivational. Oh my God. Like, when you put that song on, it just makes you wanna, for me, go out and rap and record a song and just like get in that mode. And so I tell him this, and he's just like, well, I see that you do music too. Why don't we do something? And so we started basically just talking every night for 3 days at that point, on Facebook Messenger. We would chat it up. We added each other, chat till like 5 o'clock in the morning. And so he hears that I play guitar, and he's like, hey, you're pretty good at that. And I was like, yeah, I'm thinking about making guitar loops for producers. I have this idea, but I'm not sure how to do it. And he's like, well, pull up Studio One. Let's get on this right now. Like, yeah, okay, sometime for sure. And he's like, no, pull up Studio One and let's do this. I'll show you how to do it. And I'm like, oh, okay. So he sat there and he broke it down, and he's like, okay, you're going to pull this program up, and this is how you're going to set the tempo, and you're going to want the metronome. And like, I would use metronome here and there, but he's like, no, you need to use that every time you record, because it keeps you on the beat, keeps you on the tempos. I'm like, oh, okay. So that was just a little step, but it's like those kind of things, because he's been doing it for 5 years now, and he just barely started 5 years ago. He's not an artist that's been straight out of high school, been doing it the whole time,
Yeah.
He knows. And so he's teaching me this stuff. And so next day I wake up and he's like, hey, yo, listen to this. And he made a beat out of one of my guitar loops that I had uploaded to SoundCloud for making it's like 10 to 12 instrumental loops from the guitar. And I went and uploaded them to SoundCloud and was like, hey, here's an album now. If you want one of them, let me know. I'm selling them for like $5 a piece. Here's my Cash App, yada yada, on SoundCloud. And so he's like, hey, I made this beat from it. And he plays me the beat, and I'm just like, what? Like, wow, dude. And he's like, yeah, now listen to this. And he sends me, he had recorded a verse on the song. And I'm just like, dude, that's dang, man. He's like, yeah, you want to get on it? And I'm like, okay. And so now I'm recording a song with him. And so I record my part to the song the next day. I send it back to him, and he's like, you know what? It's good, but we're going to work on this. And I'm like, oh, okay, damn. I'm
perfectionist, man.
Like,
yeah.
I'm kind of insecure, but at the same time, I know that I'm good. But at the same time, if you tell me you got to work on it, I'm just like, previous to this point. But now I'm like, all right, let's see what this dude is going to do. And so he calls me on Facebook Messenger, and we're doing a live chat. And he's just like, all right, we're going to break it down bar for bar. And I'm just like, what do you mean? And he's like, okay, spit the first couple bars. And I'm like, da 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 da. And he's like, okay, now say it like you're saying a sentence, because you're saying it like you're emphasizing words, but it sounds like you're a robot. So when you talk, it's like, I'm like, huh? Oh, like I didn't even realize it, because I have been so used to trying to emphasize my flow at certain parts that it really just takes away from the flow. And so he started breaking that down with me. And by the time we're done, it was like 2-hour session. This song is like oh my, like I can't even describe how much better it is from my past songs. It helps that I have a mic and interface and headphones now with a laptop, where before I was recording on my phone. But at the same time, him breaking down like how to structure the lyrics, and like he even took my lyrics and was like, hey, send them to me. I was like, okay. I sent them to him. He's like, okay, now I want you to take this sentence right here and split it in half, because that's a run-on sentence and you're trying to say too much all in one breath, and that's why you're trying to gasp for breath. Now, da-da-da. And so he did that, and yeah.
Just work, just basically showing, like giving you the tools to, perfect your own work as well. It's always awesome to have people like that.
It's like finding somebody who's more of a perfectionist than I am already, though. Like, and it's interesting because I'm thinking that I'm pretty hard on myself, and it like I wasn't hard enough already. Like, there's always more that you can learn, though. Like, and that's what I'm finding too, is like getting out there and speaking to people and talking to people that are doing this, rather than staying in your own mode and your own, I guess, inner circle.
Yeah.
Because like personally myself, that's what my problem was.
Okay. Yeah, I'll also go, that's what we're programmed anyway. What is it? The dog eat dog world type shit. Like we sit here and we think someone, is our competition, but not everyone thinks like that.
Especially in music.
Yeah, and that might take under the wing and show you a few tricks, man. So yeah, definitely.
Well, and when you find that, it's like finding a best friend, honestly. Like, to me, that's how I felt when like I stumbled upon this dude, and he's willing to put time and dedication into me like he would on his own music. Like, it's like you can feed a man but teach him how to fish. You know what I'm saying? Like, now he's teaching me how to do it on my own, rather than being like, hey, this is what you could do, now go and do it. If you can't do it, then you're just not good enough. I don't know what it is that you need to learn, man, because that's what I've had in the past too. Hey man, you're really good, but there's just something you're missing. And it's like, okay, what? Okay, I'm ready. What? Okay, tell me. I don't know. I can't tell you what it is. But, and it's like, or are you just not willing to take the time and dedication you would take with somebody you love or have been friends with, and would break things down? Because that's how, honestly, this guy treated me. And it's like, come to find out, we went to the same high school. We know like 70% of the same people on Facebook. He's asking me, hey, do you know so-and-so? And I'm like, yeah. You know what, dude? I went, yeah, I know. And he's like, oh, man, yeah. And I'm like, do you know this dude? Yeah, man. And it's, man, just coincidentally out of nowhere, and it's, things happen interesting in life that way.
Yep. It's always, I always believe you'll get what you need, not what you want, sort of deal.
Yes.
So let's flip it up a little bit, man. Let's talk about, you talked a little about the song that inspires you. So when you go into your zone for creating your lyrics, or just your music in general, like, what, is there any past experience you think about, or is there some other form of artistry that just motivates you and makes you dig down?
I mean, it's a couple. That's like you can say a double-edged sword, but it's not double-edged. It's like quadruple octa-edged. Like, there's so many things in my life.
Multi-layered.
Yeah, like, one was like when I was in high school, that being from Fresno, California, there's a thing in Fresno where it's like your mama jokes in high school, but that's how everybody was with each other. And it's called ratting on each other, or like getting on each other, like roasting.
Yeah.
and it's who could have the best punchlines that day. And every day it was like at lunch, everybody would gather around and try to see who was going to make fun of each other. And you never knew when it was going to happen or if it was going to happen. But when it did, everybody was there. And this is before Instagram, before Facebook, before even really cell phones. I mean, maybe Nokias were out and a couple of kids in high school had them. Pagers, maybe, but for the most part, it was just like, this was entertainment.
Yeah.
And me and I would say about 10 kids started just freestyling at lunch because of 8 Mile, in the movie. And I don't know if that's why they did it. That was a big reason why I did. Like, I saw that movie, and that just feeling of being on stage and having everybody looking up at you, not even up to you, but up at you. And that you have their full attention, and what you do dictates what they do. And if you're good, they're going to get into it, and it's going to be their highlight of, I don't know what, their life, that night, or their week. But if you suck, it's just going to be like another flick of time, and they're not even going to remember nothing. So it's all about trying to make that moments, because if you're an artist, you do it multiple times, and it's having dedication to do it every time.
Sounds like, and also like how you're describing that just becomes like a skill, like where
and that's what I was going to say is,
think about it.
Initially, I was horrible, man. Like, I would say, are we allowed to cuss in this podcast?
Yeah, I cuss all the time, man.
I would say I don't give a fuck, and that was like the punchline when I freestyle. I didn't give it a fuck. What are you gonna do? I ain't giving a fuck because you suck. It was just like rhyming nursery rhymes initially.
Yeah,
because I would write poetry, but I didn't understand the concept of relaying that. And freestyle is a whole another. It's like a way of thinking, and when I freestyle now, because I've done it for so long, and when I get in good spurts, I actually see sentences in front of me, but the sentences that I'm thinking about 2 sentences after the sentence that I'm saying right now, because I'm not thinking about the sentence that I'm saying at the time, because that's just what's already coming out. I'm thinking about what's going to come after that, so I know just if it's going to make context, like, because you can freestyle, I got a cat with a bat, and it is nothing about that. And what you want is, you can do that all day, but if it doesn't make sense of context, what does it matter? You're just wasting people's time, So it's about filling that with structure. And being in high school, that whole ratting, roasting each other, that was another getting on each other. And for the longest time, I was horrible till one day they get on me about being white, trying to be, quote unquote black, which it's the hardest thing to deal with when you're in a high school, when it's, I wouldn't say a majority of black kids, but is, a big part of it.
Okay.
And it's near the ghetto, so it wasn't hard. It wasn't like, gangs were at the metal detectors and everything, but we did have gang members. We did have fights every day. It was a fighting school. If you had a problem with another group of kids, because we had mobs, which were tagging groups, were wannabe gangs. They're in high school. They're hanging out with their friends. They do graffiti, so now they claim to be a gang, but they're really not, but they're kids, and they think
just get clicky and shit.
Yeah, and so anytime there would be a problem, you look at a person wrong, or you bump into the shoulder and you weren't paying attention. It's, all right, we're fighting after school. And it was, you'd meet after school and everybody would be there, and you just so
for any other, like, if you're a younger audience member, because I know what you're speaking on. I'm 38 myself. So yeah, I didn't have any.
Well, and again, this is before cell phones and before.
So I know what you're saying about the lunchroom. Yep. your lunchroom. That was
Yeah,
where.
and I mean there were cliques like Jocks and the Studianios, which were the wannabe gangs, you know, and then Norteños and Bulldogs, and it's high school, so you can't really say they actually
Super,
were, but there were a lot
super
of kids in
clicky.
our high school that were gang members because they grew up in the bad areas of our town, which was our town was very split up in interesting ways. And that's another going off another tangent. But okay, so I sucked up until this point where there's a freestyle battle and they're making fun of me because I'm white trying to be black, supposedly. I'm a wigger, I'm a wankster, you know. And
Hmm.
so they're getting on me and this dude's freestyling against me. And I'm like, okay, so how about I'm gonna come at you like the Hitler army with the Nazi backing me up and take you out, da 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 da. And I'm back freestyling. They're just like, what? I said, oh, wow, what? And I didn't literally mean it because I'm not racist. I'm
Yeah.
hanging out with black people. You know, we're all just getting along, and this is what we do. We're ratting on each other, and it's to see who could have the harshest punchline. And yes, this was a little extreme, and I shouldn't have gone to that level. But at the same degree, it was like I understood of where I could go and not to, but
Mhm.
that I could. And so from that point, that Eminem, I really don't care what I say. Not that I don't care what I say. Okay, just punchline type thing in the
Just
raps, like
yeah, so what you're saying is basically when they threw that in your face about being white, blah blah blah. So you're like, all right, well, I'm gonna use that to my advantage. Let me
yes,
go pull up whatever,
right.
what, because basically, like you said, it's not about no racist shit, and it's
Well,
just it's just about getting over on the other guy and making him feel dumb and
well,
look
it,
dumb
yeah,
for that.
trying to put you down, trying to
Yeah.
get on you for doing something that to me it was like, okay, you want to get on me about trying to be black? Why is that bad? Explain to me why you think, if that's the case, which it's not, because
Yeah.
that's a whole nother story upon my sister only dating black dudes and her being white and a blood from Salt Lake City and coming into my life when I'm 12 years old and she's 16. And my dad basically being thrown her because her mom was an alcoholic who couldn't deal with her anymore from running from the cops, and she jumped out of a 2-story building and broke her ankle. Didn't go to the hospital till where 3 weeks later she had to go and get pins in her ankles because it was so swollen and so bad that her mom just said, okay, I can't deal with you anymore, and sent her to me, or well, my dad. And so that's
Right.
what happened with us. And so I'm a country boy up until that point. I was raised, you know, to listen to Garth Brooks, Clint Eastwood, you know, everything else. And then
Okay.
she comes into the picture and, oh, rap. Well, that wasn't the first introduction, but that is what really got me into it. Before that, I had met Big Timer in Hollywood. I don't know if you ever heard of these guys, or Big Timer and Hercules. They were the two guys from Me, Myself, and Irene, the big kids that were
Okay. Yeah.
Jim Carrey's sons. And I was in the hospital for having surgery when I was 10 years old because I was born with pectoral itis, or at least that's what they called it at the time because they didn't have a name for it. And it's just,
Yeah.
I was born with extra cartilage because my mom smoked when she was pregnant with me. And so up until that point, I was very self-conscious and wouldn't take off my shirt when I go swimming type stuff. You know,
Yeah.
my chest was very, very uneven.
And I mean,
So,
every adolescent out there, like we all went through that too.
yeah.
So, but yeah, I
Well,
get
and if
what
you
you're
have a
saying.
deformity or something wrong with you,
Makes
it's
it
understandable that you're very, very self-conscious about
Yeah.
yourself. And
Yeah.
so up until that point, I was very what is it? Tried to agitate my sisters all the time.
Yeah.
You know, like very aggressive in a matter, I guess. You know, and I learned from that, and I was a lot better after the surgery because then I gained self-confidence and was like, oh, okay, you know. And okay, so I had this surgery, and they end up being at the hospital, and they're giving out CDs and they're signing CDs. And so this is my very, very first introduction to this, just like, this is what a rapper is and what they do, and how you could go and meet people in a hospital, because what happened to me in the hospital was very traumatic, even though it was just a common everyday surgery that was supposed to be a 1 day, 8-hour surgery.
Yeah.
Turned out to me going into a mini coma, my heart stopping for 30 seconds, and me being out for 5 days. And when I came out of it, they happened to be there. And like, it was the first time I was able to walk after the surgery, because they gave me penicillin, and I'm allergic to any penicillin, like highly allergic. And then they gave me morphine, and I have a very, very low tolerance for morphine. And the reaction of both at the same time just caused my body to go into shock. And my mom said my chest was just swollen up so bad that she just couldn't believe that it was actually happening. And I felt like I woke up during the surgery. Come to find out, that was probably when my heart stopped and I was astral projecting, looking at myself from above, an out of body experience.
Okay,
which
yeah.
I can't necessarily say yes, but that's what I chalk it up to, because I swear I woke up during the surgery, sat up and looked around like, what the hell is going on? Which, that can't be possible either. So, take it as it is.
It's things that can't be explained by, by our, I guess,
I didn't see no light.
Like
I didn't get called nowhere. I wasn't scared, but, that is what that is. And so after the surgery, I went and met Big Timer Hercules, and they give me a shirt. They signed this CD, and I got to see what it was like for a rapper / artist to go to a hospital and be able to cheer somebody up that just got out of a surgery.
Yeah.
And just be like, I want to be that, like, I want to be able to cheer people up and inspire them to do something in their lives, rather than doing a 9 to 5 every day. Not that that's necessarily bad, but a lot of people get that melancholy or that depressive, drawn out. I just feel like I'm doing the same thing every day. And I'm a veteran also, and a lot of us with PTS get that. And that seems to be one of the leading mechanisms to depression. Is not having things to do to keep you busy.
Yeah, and also that whole 9 to 5 thing, it kind of wears on you to a point, like you said, you keep doing the same thing every day, and at some point you kind of just
not feeling important, not feeling like you have a
purpose and
key role. Just like,
I do the same shit every day, and who cares about it?
Why?
Yeah,
what am I doing in 5 years? In 5 years, am I going to be doing this?
The same shit.
That's what really drives me to do this music. Another thing, like you were asking me, different things that drive me. Like I said, it's multiple fold, and that's another one. Is just not wanting to have to depend on somebody else for a job, and going to work and then not being in a good mood, but them just being like, no, you got to put on a smile. Like, no, I can't today. Like, I'm sorry. Like, no, you got to, or you're fired. Like, well, okay. There's another job out there, but we get another person to get this job too. So what are you to them? And
exactly,
it becomes a constant battle. I don't know how it is with other veterans, but I've spoke with a lot of my own friends in battles, and that seems to be a thing too. Is military, we always say, it's the best job in the world. Once you have the best job in the world, what can you really do from there?
It's only, you can only go at
that
sort of thing, and before you're just like you said, you're asking why and how long am I going to keep doing
you're
this?
You're looked at as a hero in this sense. A lot of people look at soldier just wearing that uniform, that rank, that badge as an honor, and it really is. You know, you're willing to sacrifice yourself for the freedom of others because you give your life to do what it is you do in the military, and you don't have a choice to do anything else when you're in. You do have the choice to not do it, but then you're just going to be right back out where you were before, and probably worse off because you get a dishonorable discharge. You know, so it's all relative. You know, and a lot of people go in thinking one thing, and then learn it's a total different thing. So, you know, but it's your perspective and what you do with your life and what you do with the moment, rather than trying to be so negative and melancholy, like you said, looking at what am I going to be doing in 2 years? I'm going to be doing this same thing, because that can become a real key factor in the military also, is feeling like you're just drawn out doing the same thing.
Yeah. Get into a cycle. And
yeah,
I mean, definitely. Like you said, some people 9 to 5, they're completely fine doing that. And
some.
But some of us, like myself and you, I'm not with it, man. I'm trying to create purpose into some. And if this podcast, like, if no one listens to it,
what are you attributing to anybody else when you're doing a 9 to 5? When it really comes down to it, and it's not trying to like put yourself on a pedestal or higher, but like, my goal in life is to help somebody every day, like in some degree, like see something that they didn't see. Look at something from a different angle. I have conversations every single day from people that are businessmen to homeless people to Mormons to Presbyterians to agnostics to, you know, just whatever religion it is, a Satanist, you know, just because I believe how you look at life and your perception of life is totally different than mine. So you may see things a total different light than I see it. And it doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong. It just means you just see it differently. And I may be able to see it the same way, or maybe, you know, something. It's interesting because you can get stuck in. Okay, I was raised Mormon. Age of 12, my mom leaves because my dad's very abusive. And my dad's holding my sister on the wall. So my mom gets the stuff and leaves. About a year and a half later, my stepmom comes to the picture. She's Jehovah's Witness.
Okay.
Okay. So for the audience, they're like the same exact thing. Yeah. One claims to be the lost tribe. The other claims to be the lost tribe. One has the Book of Mormon. One has the Book of Jehovah. One wears a uniform. The other has a uniform. One goes door to door. The other goes door to door. It's the same as that. I was just like, wait, hold on. They claim to be right, but they claim to be right. Like, no. So I was atheist at that point. I was just like, what? No, there is nothing. Like, and I'm very, like, I wouldn't say like regretful, but at the same instance, it's like over the time and over the duration of my life, you learn that there is something. Now, I can't dictate what it is or who it is, or if it's an actual being, or if it's the universe itself, and the universe is a living being. We're just creations out of that, or we're just ones and zeros in a simulation. I don't know, but you know, like, you got to question things, and that's the thing, is being a Mormon as a kid. They give you so much information, but they only tell you this is it, and that's it. Like, you believe this. Like, well, why? No, you don't ask why. Who's John Smith? No.
Don't ask too much about John Smith, man.
Why does he be the only one that reads the Sanskrit stones that he found in the middle of the desert, supposedly? What? No, you don't ask that question. Hold on. It's like kind of like when you look at the Scientology and that lady from Kings and Queens that started asking questions about what's his name's wife. And no, you don't ask those questions. And since you're asking those questions, we're gonna lock you up in a safe place, and we're gonna make sure that you're safe from humanity and society, and that you don't tell anybody
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try to get that reprogramming started back up in you, because you are asking too many questions.
Well, and religion in itself is a program. It was initialized to get people to think the way that the king wanted them to think so that they would do his bidding, essentially. I mean, when you really look at the time that it was implemented and why it was implemented, 1200, 1100, what is it? AD?
Control mechanism, and
seems the Catholic Church and the Crusades and
Catholic Church started taking, I guess, other kingdoms under its wing just for, a title and a piece of the land and the money.
Yeah.
So, just speaking on, I guess, how you talking about religion and stuff, have you had it, besides the out-of-body experience, have you ever had any other kind of, like, unexplainable phenomenon happen to you?
I mean,
because I do enjoy asking people that, like,
I've had quite a few, but it's like, you can't, it's like ghosts, I've had like my Uncle Monty, because in the Mormon religion, they're very, very, very into like premonition / ancestors looking over you, the afterlife, being bonded to your family. Like, I was bonded to my grandpa in the Great Temple, and I believe it was Nephi, Utah. It's like the Great Temple, you know what I'm saying?
Like the Mecca, basically.
Right. It's like the temple that everybody goes to. It's the most beautiful, the most money was put into it. I was taken into a room as we were on the way to the ceremony, and I'm walking behind my grandma and grandpa, and somebody comes behind me and takes me by the shoulders, puts me in this room that's just, it's a mirror all the way around, every degree, like 360. Like, there's a floor, but the floor is a mirror.
Okay.
And you can see for eternity. And close the door behind you, the door is a mirror. You can't find your way out, or at least I couldn't. What am I, 8 years old at this time. So I stand there, what felt like an eternity, it was really probably only about 2-3 minutes as I look at it now. They take me back out, put me behind my grandpa, which is still walking to the ceremony. And my grandpa looks back and then just looks forward. I'm like, that. And he's like, shh. Okay. They bond me to him. Now, I've asked why from my uncle, which is a missionary / almost an elder, because he's gone through the missionary process and all that. And to become an elder in the church, you have to be a missionary, which is like a 7-year process of you going overseas to other churches and spreading the word of LDS, Latter-day Saints, or trying to convert people to Mormonism.
Okay.
And so they bonded me to him. They don't do this normally, because what they would do is, say a female had kids with a husband, but the husband died and she wanted to remarry, and she wants those kids rebonded to the new husband. That's what they would do. They would, because in the afterlife, they want them to be together, bonded. Okay. You wouldn't bond a grandchild to the grandfather. Like, this is uncommon. Like, it didn't make sense type thing. I was always told that maybe my uncle reincarnated because he died around the time that I was born. He was mentally ill and swallowed his tongue by eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Interesting notion. So he would type on the computer in the middle of the night sometimes in my parents' room. You would hear steps. There was a little girl that would walk across the hallway all the time. My grandma would freak out, and you'd be like, "What the hell, Grandma?" And she'd be like, I saw this girl walk through the door. And you'd be like, "What?" She just walked across the room. Okay. Do you know what Mandela effects are?
Yep, definitely.
Okay. So the
And
very
we might want to explain it a little before you go too deep into it,
oh
just in
okay.
case the other people haven't.
Nope. My perception or my definition of a Mandela effect, because there is no defined
Definite one. Yeah.
of what it is. There's Fiona Broome came up with the theory in the 70s, 80s. She wrote a book on, or maybe it was 2006. I can't remember because so many timelines and things happen with it. And it's very, yes, out there. But when you look into quantum physics and quantum computers now, nothing is out there. Just like they found a parallel universe that flows with time backwards. That definitively defines the notion of infinity. Say that 5 times fast. Okay, so I started seeing Mandela effects here and there. Now, at this point, I had been looking into conspiracy theories about 4 years. It wasn't like I'm hardcore, like do videos, but I do, but it wasn't like all the time, every day, like a quote unquote tinfoil hat wear, like they want you to think is crazy. You know what I'm saying? But I'd talk to Professor Doom, Dabu7 on Twitter, on Facebook personally. Like, I'd feed them information into stuff that I was researching because of the way I could tap into things, find stuff, rabbit holes, go down these rabbit holes, but go down these rabbit holes 10 times faster than anybody else could go down this rabbit hole, just because of the ways and tactics that I learned how to do it from doing it for so long, 4-year period of time. And at this point, I hadn't looked into Mandela effects because to me it was kind of like flat earth theory. There's just no point. Like, that's a distractionary. They look over here while we're doing this over here. Let's waste your time on this. Let's see if we can get you to be so gullible to believe in this. But then at the same time, there is a notion of flat earth theory that makes it plausible.
Yeah. Part of the whole truther thing, man.
So another thing with me is I will always argue everything like a lawyer. And it's not that I'm not stable or solid in my beliefs, but it's that I like to ask questions, and I will ask questions from the opposite side, like I don't understand it, to get them to explain it to me how they would explain it to somebody who isn't being confrontational or negative. Is that how you say it? Negative? Or
okay, yeah.
Negateful.
Just trying to like if you were trying to convert if you were trying to convert
anytime you try to change somebody's view or try to change somebody's opinion on something, they're never gonna listen to you if you come at a stance that you're saying the opposite opinion. But if you act like you don't know nothing about it, they'll explain their side fully and at every level, and then be able to listen because you're just learning. But you'll hit a wall there too. But okay, so because of this, I hadn't looked into Mandela effect. So one morning, I'm making a bottle for my son, and there's an interesting story about my son also. We tried 2 years to have him, couldn't have him. My ex-wife, my wife at the time, had taken the depot shot, and her insides were torn out basically because the depot shot kills any productive organs at the time when you're taking it. But when you stop taking it, it takes time for those reproductive organs to come back. Essentially, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, but this is what I understand. And so it took 2 years for that to happen. And so the day before her wedding, she gets pregnant. She tells me. And so I felt like I was destiny. And so his name is Destin. His middle name's Orion, like Orion's belt, because 3 stars lined up with the pyramids around a month before he was born. So that's just a little factor to that. But making a bottle for him at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I look up And I don't know what it is, but it's a bright ass light, and it flashes from like orange to blue to yellow to green to blue and dies. And I'm just like, what the? Huh? And to me, it looked like a meteor, but I'm not sure. But that's what pops up in my head first. And I'm just like, huh? And I go to the room, my ex-wife's laying in bed, and she's like, whoa, what was that? And I'm like, I don't know. And she's like, it looked like a truck in the alley. And I'm like, no, but I don't know. So the next morning, I wake up and I look up meteor in Tucson. And yeah, there's pictures of this supposed meteor, but it's like there were missiles chasing it. The line, and this is, I'm trying to remember, it's like 2015. No, my son was born in November, so this was 2016, like February. And I look it up. There's just okay, and for some reason, that's Mandela effects. And I'm just like, let me start looking into this. And that's when, that third eye started open. That's when I started really starting to see things for just that were there the whole time, but I had never seen them because I just wasn't seeing it the way that I was not necessarily supposed to be seeing it, but I was putting too much energy in trying to see it one way. And I stumbled upon Thoth, Thoth. He's an Egyptian god of writing, wisdom, and consciousness. Yeah. And he supposedly wrote the Emerald Tablets. And I say supposedly because I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know him personally. But this is all the lore. This is all the stories. And this is everything that you can find when you find Thoth. Because you can't find Thoth or won't find Thoth till this point. Because it's like he's written out of Western philosophy. Now,
a lot of things are, man.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. In this factor, it's like what I've found is I stumbled upon this female one time. She was, for lack of a better term, racist towards white people because she was black and had bad things happen from white people towards her. We're at a recording studio. I walk in. She's looking at me like, what the fuck are you doing here, white boy? I look back at her like, no, you don't got to worry about me. Hold on. And she's like, why you say that? I pointed to my arm and I have a tattoo of Thoth. And I said, well, because I have this. She says, oh, what do you know about Thoth? I'm like, well, he's the Egyptian god of writing, wisdom, and consciousness. And she's like, my family has a story about him that we passed down. And it says that he's the first sin, or he's considered the first sin. Because he gets you to think outside the knowledge that the gods gave you. I'm like, interesting. I had never heard that up until that point when I looked into Thoth or anything that I'd look into Thoth. Now, you asked me if I'd ever had any interesting things happen to me as far as like spiritual or like ghosts and stuff like that. Yeah. I get on the bus, and this is like 2 months ago, and there's these papers spread across the seats. And it's a page from the Book of Thoth, and I had been looking into the Book of Thoth that morning. And it was Aleister Crowley's version of the Book of Thoth. And it was the first chapter, which is going into why tarot cards were created and what tarot cards are and how they were created and what they symbolize and what each card meaning in the astrological form of, what year and time you use that card and who you're talking about when they were born and, things like that. Very, very dense. Very like, I couldn't even read it necessarily. Like I tried, I skimmed over it, but I stopped. But I'm reading this paper that's on this bus, and it's a page from that book. But I don't see it as a page from the book because I look at it, and it looks weird to me. And so I look up the Roman numerals on top of the page because it's got these Roman numerals like X, 5, 1. I want to say X1111 or something like that. And so I look it up, and it says the Book of Oz, or a page from the Book of Oz, and it's from the Book of Thoth. And I'm like, what the hell? This is interesting. This is like now you can see me type stuff, occultist type stuff. What the hell? Is someone trying to recruit me into the fucking Illuminati? What? No. Okay. So that night, me and this friend of mine, we decided to go downtown. This is during like the first days of the quarantine, so it's not dead yet, but it's getting there. And there's a tarot card reader downtown. Never seen a tarot card reader downtown before. Huh, interesting. Walk up to her, get my friend's, reading done, and walk away. But things like that happen to me all the time. I don't know if you call it synchronicity, call it coincidence, if you call it, I don't know. But those speaking to me, up until that point that I had looked into Mandela effects, it was like I was blindly searching into conspiracy theories. I didn't necessarily know how to look into them. And it's not like I'm the all-knowing god of conspiracies, but if you ask me to look in something, I could pretty much pinpoint why it's going on or what's going on. And it's not like crucial evidence that you could take to the FBI and they could say, okay, we're going to go lock up the dude who did this.
Break it down.
But when you look into a lot of these, I don't know, false flags, these red flags, these mass shootings, we need the people to steer this way into believing that rifles or weapons in general are bad for the people, because there's these people that are going out that are crazy and killing people, but it's the people killing people. It's not the weapon killing people. The weapon only does so much to whatever the person's behind it. Well, they couldn't kill as much people if you had less ammunition. Yeah, no. If you get a knife, you could silently train somebody. They kill just as much people as they could with that rifle. That's just my opinion. I'm ex-military, like I said. So,
Hey, it's a lot of things you can use out there as a weapon. So,
you can ban all the weapons that they want, and it doesn't mean that the criminals or the people that want to do stuff aren't going to be able to go out and get them. People in Europe and Australia still able to do stuff.
Stab each other. So,
if somebody wants to do it, they will do it. But the fact that all these events happen the way that they do, now that's a whole another thing. And I've gone into that. Now, like I said, I didn't start looking into conspiracy theories till 2011.
Okay.
And what got me really, really I joined the military because of 9/11. Then my boy, that was a neighbor of mine, that was my ex-wife when I first met her's neighbor, had asked me if I had ever heard about gang stalking. You know what gang stalking is? I wonder if the viewers do.
Is it where, I believe it's like where, I guess they can use, basically they can use social media and
it's many things.
It's just almost a surveillance sort of deal. And
what it was described to me at the time was, if you find out anything, quote unquote, that they don't want you to find out, or that you start bringing attention to something that they don't want out, they'll literally try to start making you go crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
And they'll do it by different tactics, different means: social media, stalking you, having somebody in a car go by you with a missing hubcap, having a girl on the bike go behind that car, girl pushing the baby stroller. And it will be that every day at the same time. And you'll just starting to notice that. And you'll be like, what? And so you'll start telling your friends, hey, you see that girl on the bike?
Yeah.
You see that car with the missing hubcap? You see the girl pushing the baby stroller every day, dude. You're fucking crazy. Okay. Oh, my bad. And so the next week goes by, and now it's the mailman is looking at you and looking through your mailbox, and now there's a van that stops in front of your house, and that opens up the door, and it's popping out an infrared, and you're, what the fuck? And so you start recording this shit, and so the next week you go to your friends, and you're, yo, look at this shit. Look, yo, it's a van with an infrared camera. Da, 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 da. And they're just like, yo, what the fuck? You're fucking cuckoo, dude. No.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, my bad. You're right. And the next week it's drones now, and they're hacking your computer, and they're tapping your phones, and they're infrared cameras, and it's the girl with the baby stroller, and it's the missing hubcap, and
it's all
of it. And you start going to your friend, you're like, yo, and they're like, okay, yo, you either need to calm down and realize that you're paranoid and that you're going crazy and you need to get help, or don't come back until you do. And then you disappear in some way. You either go to prison for doing some crazy rampage with a pitchfork, which you would never do because you're sensible and logical, or you stab yourself in the chest 15 times. Johnny Lang, Fresno, California. Multiple things happen. I've had incidents, like I told you, my friend's telling me this. He went on a rampage with a pitchfork, supposedly. Stole a pitchfork out of a TEP truck, which is a utility truck. Went up to the guy and said, give me your truck. Got into the truck. Went to the north side of town. Ran into a girl in the truck. Got out, stole her truck. Went to the south side to supposedly rob his drug dealer. Didn't have a knife, didn't have a weapon. Went in, got his cell phone taken, got his money taken, ran out, robbed another car, ran into a police car, supposedly got into the police car, robbed that, and then they caught him. And he's in prison for the last 10 years, 10 charges. He's the one that told me about this. 2 weeks later, his brother comes at me, tries to stab me. Like, there was no reason. He just came in my door, was like, hey, do you want me to stab you now or later? What? And it was like he was trying to fight himself from doing it. I calmed him down from doing it. We walked outside. My brother came downstairs because he was in an apartment upstairs, and he got on a bike and ran off. And then went to prison, what was it, 2 days later for stabbing somebody else. Coincidental? I don't know. Okay, so this was my introduction into looking into things.
Yeah.
And from that point, you just, there's always something going on. There's always
manipulations.
It's like Men in Black.
Yeah. And I've noticed, once I've gotten into the conspiracy truther thing as well, man, it's like it's always the bad. Well, this is the bad thing. There's always something else going on, and you just keep going and going. And,
yeah,
like
never ends.
It's basically a rabbit hole. It's just many layers. It never ending.
And you get people who think they're knowledgeable and like they understand everything, and it's like scientists. Okay. Scientists, as far as paleontologists, or maybe like who are the people that study like the degradation of the sand in Egypt to tell what was like the flood and the aging of things. You know what I'm saying? Like they're specialized from years like 600 BC to 800 BC.
Carbon dating.
They're years, and they don't study 500 BC. They don't know about 900 BC. You could ask them, you got to go ask Frank over here. He's 900 to 1100 BC. So it's like that with conspiracy theories. Like you get like, I know about a lot because I look into a lot, but I've been doing it 9 years now. But I wouldn't know half the stuff when you look into like, I don't know, Pedogate right now, because there's a lot of flags with Pedogate, and just saying that right now is gonna, we might want to edit, but
Hey, I don't.
I did a little into it, and you can't. Because even the people who are looking into it are like, yo, you don't look up these key terms. Don't. Because if you do, that's all I'm going to say. They don't need to. Pizzagate, you know?
Yeah. And also, like, what I was going to say, I kind of lost my train of thought. I did have something for you, but.
Okay, you were saying the more you go,
the
further you go,
deeper you go, the more you uncover,
and it never ends.
And hell, like you said, that even that right there can just drive you mad when you start seeing how false the world is.
Doing this for so long, my ex-wife at the time, she was really cool and good about it, but she would tell me a lot of the times, hey, Nevada, you gotta calm down. It's all you're talking about. I had a sister at the time. Nevada, every time you come to family events, this is all you talk about. You need to calm down. I'm fine though. You guys don't understand this. I like doing this. It's not that I'm emotional into it. Like, I am kind of to a degree when I talk to other people and they're just like, nah, man, that's a conspiracy. And it's like, okay, let me give you another page. Nah, man, that's from a conspiracy site. Okay, let me give you 10 sites from 10 different people all calling this a platypus, but you're saying it's a duck. No. Like, so I would take breaks. I would stop altogether. I would just play games. You know, I'm a gamer also. I'm a musician. I'm a gamer. I love quantum mechanics. I'm a mechanic. Was a veteran, or I am a veteran, you know, but in the military, I was a mechanic. I worked on helicopters. My grandpa basically told me to be a jack of all trades. Never be so fixated on one skill, because that's going to be a time and date that you're going to need that skill and you're not going to know it and you never learned it. So if you can teach yourself to learn everything, you may not be a master in one, but you'll be able to get by very well, because at any given time you can pick up something and be like, okay, I'm going to do this for a while. And it's kind of like that show Quantum Leap. I feel like that's what I relate myself to, like a chameleon. Like, just being able to adapt with any scenario that I've been in, because I've been in all walks of life. I've been homeless 4 times in my life and got myself off the street each time. I've been in the military, you know, comfortable, just doing good, getting that paycheck from week to week, you know, doing my job, working on helicopters. I was in college when I did that, so I know the college life. I was poor as a kid, so, you know, we struggled. You know, I know rich people, my friends from high school, a couple own businesses, and it's really interesting to know them, but not really be personable with them anymore, because they feel like I'm not approachable because I'm not in the same walk of life for them. It feels like, you know, and then there's that you want to hang out with people that you want to be like, which is understandable, and the military teaches you too. But then to a degree, it's like being judgmental. I could be at that walk of life just as much as them, but because they're so judgmental and don't want to help, it's like, okay, let me walk down this path on my own.
Yeah. You always gotta, like, usually you'll meet people that are walking on that same path. Usually they'll either a little behind you or they're a little ahead of you, and you want those kind of people just kind of there. That way you can always, you know, you always have someone you can talk to. Or
that goes with music that I'm finding right now too, is, like I said, just coming, like, really pushing myself the last 2 weeks, and like really wanting to be an artist for the last 15 years since high school, but just messing around with it. Like, I do freestyle videos on YouTube, you know, I record myself working on a song, you know, record the songs on my headphones, on my phone, but it wasn't serious, because when people listen to it, it'd be like, that's all right, but it doesn't hook them. It didn't draw them in. Now, my last 3 singles that I've recorded with my mic interface and my computer that I have now, because I invested that stimulus, because I felt like I need to stop playing around. I need to be serious. They can't stop listening to it. I've got 11,000 plays on one on SoundCloud, and that's in 3 days.
Nice, man. Nice.
You know, and that's also networking and being on SoundCloud and this website that I know about, Repost Exchange, for artists. If you're an artist out there, you want engagement, you want likes on your songs, you want other people to post them, you want people to listen to them. That's what you do. You get on Repost Exchange, you get credits to promote your music for sharing other people's music, and in turn they'll play. It puts them in front of them. You get comments, you get people to follow you, it links all your social medias. You know, it's just, and it's like learning all these tools that I didn't know any idea about 2 weeks ago before this. Like when my friend broke down how to record and taking the time to do that, but then now he's like, hey, go talk to this guy because he knows about marketing. And I'm, oh, okay, so hey, go on, you know, Instagram, start typing to him. And he's just like, hey, yeah, do this. And yeah, bam, I've got 11,000 plays now. He's like,
yeah, so yeah, that's great, man, because there's always someone, like someone always knows more than you, or knows something you don't.
Never stop learning.
Yeah, and you have to find those people that are going to share that stuff with you out here.
That too. Well, and because I found him in that group and engaged with him on his song and was like, hey, bro, I've been listening to this every day since I got it. Yo, this is nice. And he's just like, oh, holy snap. You're not just telling me it's a good song to want me to listen to your song. You're actually just telling me it's a good song and then leaving it at that. Okay. And so that's what made him really like message me on Messenger and be like, hey, what's up, bro? Let's do something. Like, you know, and it was pretty cool, that aspect of pushing myself to do that also. Because as an artist, I know a lot of you as listeners right now are probably out there like debating whether you should, or if you have enough skill or confidence to do it, or what are people going to think about you. Or I had the same doubts. Like I have the same doubts still, and you got to get past those though. And no matter what, if it's in your heart and you want to do it, you'll do it. And I heard that from Travis Barker on Joe Rogan, because I watch Joe Rogan a lot, and not because I necessarily believe in, you know, think Joe Rogan's the smartest person in the world, because he says a lot of dumb shit, but he is very sensible when it comes to listening people and allowing them to talk and put forth their opinion. Definitely, and I believe that is the most important thing when it comes to having these conversations, is learning how to listen to other people and listening rather than listening to people to speak. You got to actually hear what they're saying, digest it. And it, like, you ever watch Elon Musk and how he thinks before he ever says anything? And yes, maybe it's because he's on JRE, and JRE's got this stardom around him, which it's like a black hole or a supernova going on, and anybody who goes on JRE, their stocks plummet or they go really, really up. And last time he was on there, he smoked a joint with JRE and it made his stock plummet. He also said a lot of off the wall, didn't think about what he was saying. But at the same time, he just didn't care at that time. And Elon Musk is really interesting. I've researched and looked into him. He's from South Africa. He slept on the floor of his business when it was about to go bankrupt, when they were building the Model 3s. You know, he's a really interesting, he has like 5 different businesses that he's running at one time. He's a co-founder of, what is it, PayPal, I believe? Yeah.
I believe so. I'm not even 100% sure, but
I'm gonna look that up right quick to back that up.
But yeah, he always, Joe Rogan always does have like really he always gets interest in people, and hell, even sometimes like he just knows how to get people to talk. And Because
Yes.
everyone, I feel the same way. I feel everyone has something important that they should share and say whatever or tell everyone. And like you were speaking on that doubt, and I'm gonna throw this out there because I'm just getting started as a podcast myself. You have to, if you fail, don't give up. Don't don't fall into that
No.
fear of
Failure,
failing.
failures are.
And failure is only a failure when you absolutely quit doing it.
So what's the saying? A mistake's only a mistake if you repeat the mistake. No, a mistake is a mistake if you learn from it. It becomes stupidity if you repeat it, expecting different results.
Yep. Sounds like the government, but we'll probably have
we'll
to
leave
take
that at that.
Yeah.
For now, I mean, yeah, mistakes are a huge part of learning what you can do and what you can't do, what limits, and never limit yourself though either. Like, a lot of this is just putting yourself out there and allowing people to like you for who you are.
Yeah.
Never act like somebody else. A lot of people get caught up in trying to put a facade on. I mean, I was a victim of that initially. I wanted to try to be like Eminem, and that's what I thought was the thing to be as a quote-unquote white rapper. But as more and more of them have came out, Mac Lethal, Logic, Atmosphere, Watsky, just they're each one of their own individuals from different areas of the country, and they bring so many aspects to the music that without them, it wouldn't be the same. And it's like I read this post that somebody posted on my Facebook. He's a semi-famous rapper in Fresno, and he was saying, like, as a black rapper, I just don't see M being a god like everybody says, because of the fact that if it was another black person in his same position, they wouldn't have became famous. And it's like, nah, man, because without him, we would have been still listening to Vanilla Ice. Like, he gave us something at the time when there were so many gangster and drug rappers that we were looking for something else. And yeah, it was exploiting his mom being an abusive pill popper and him being abusive to girls, but that was his life, and he was giving it to you from every angle. It wasn't being hidden, and he wasn't the best person, but he was also very, very good at what he was doing, which made you overlook that. I fight myself with it, because he very, very much influenced me initially. But as I look at it, and I know the music industry, they manipulate a lot of these facades because they know that's what sells. And if they think, Tekashi 6ix9ine, for example, they think it will sell, they'll tell a person to do it. And there's a lot of things I know about that whole scenario that if you really look into it, he was set up to do that as a musician, not even just to infiltrate that blood gang. He was set up to be a musician to infiltrate that blood gang. He was promoted by the government, paid, before he was even in that gang. But anyway,
so he was basically a mole. Landed there.
We see that you are getting cool with this gang that we've been trying to infiltrate for the last 5 years, but we can't, because every time we do, they find out that the rat is there and they take him out. So we see that you're getting good with them. We'll pay you. We'll promote your music. We'll make you big. We'll make you a star. And then when you infiltrate them, because you're going to give them your money and you're going to give them a reasoning to let you inside that gang, we're going to take them out, and then you're gonna come back out of prison like nothing happened. I mean, be bigger than when it happened before.
Yeah, definitely. I can see that one for sure. Because I mean, my man was over there. He was telling on other fucking things that had nothing to do with the situation. So
I mean, it's just like, so like I said, I've been doing this so long, and it's like you learn the patterns of how, quote unquote. Okay, so when I was in the military, for example, you know what Jade Helm 15 is?
I've heard about it. I believe that was. Let me see. It
Okay,
was some
so
kind of military.
we are currently at an hour in this podcast, so we good. Hour 15.
Yep.
We're good. We're good to go.
Yeah, we're good. Go
We
ahead.
got plenty of time. Okay. Jade Helm 15 was a military operation to test martial law. The civilians' reaction to martial law possibly being implemented. Let's see how they're going to react to it. Are they going to go crazy? Are they going to riot? Or are they just going to let us do it? But also in the background, it was an artificial intelligence program to implement into the internet to infiltrate any conspiracy theorist that was gaining a lot of attention. Dabu 7 for one of them. Professor Doom being a key one. They started doing article news segments, Fox News, CNN, NBC. When does the news ever do segments about conspiracy theories?
When they're allowed to, or told
when they're
to,
trying
actually.
to get you to look at them.
Yeah,
because they want some reason for you to pay attention at that time. That's the only time. Any other time, they just say they're conspiracy theorists and just talk about them. They don't show their YouTubes. They don't give you the links to their channels. No. Dabu77 on YouTube, if you go to this channel right now and click on this link, this is how you get to him, was found today. You know what I'm saying? They're purposely doing these segments to draw attention to him. Because at that time, he was being made to look like a shill or a CIA informant that infiltrates conspiracy theorists to find out what the conspiracy theorists know. So somebody who acts like a conspiracy theorist to gain information from the conspiracy theorist community to relay it back to the government to say, hey, this is what they're finding out. This is what we need to hide. This is what they're catching on to. And they have programs that do this all the time, every day. They have actual Facebook algorithms that track this shit all the day. That's why when we say, for our listeners, when you say something and then it's going to pop up a flag, or that's a red flag right there. That's what we're saying. Is because they have programs out there that when you say keywords, it will pop up on their screen saying, hey, Nevada just said such and such. Go and look into what he's talking about.
You get on the radar for sure.
You need to surveillance him. Oh, man.
Oh,
I've had my computer hacked. I mean, like encrypted fully to where I had to whitewash it because they were telling me I needed to learn how to hack my own computer to get the files that were in it. No. No. I already know how to hack in some degree, and I've never done it online because once you do that, your signature, your code's out there for anybody who doesn't know anything about hacking. So
it's a lot of...
I've rooted phones. And when you root phones, it's basically manipulating the system code in the phone to break it so that your phone repairs itself. But when it repairs itself, it doesn't know that you've put this code in there that unlocks it. And that's essentially what you're doing when you're hacking stuff, is you're just looking for back doors into websites or transactions or Wi-Fi's or whatever it is you're doing. It's like being a magician. Magician doesn't necessarily know magic. He just knows, look over here while I'm doing this over here. It's sleight of eye. It's being really, really, really good at it and working at it over time and time and time. But that's all it is. It's being a scam artist. And that's what magicians are. They're very knowledgeable about reading people and influencing them and getting them to do what they want them to do at that current time. So Jade Helm 15 was this program that was implemented to do all that. And I knew this, and I'm looking into this, and I'm finding this, and I'm a part of this group, which I won't mention the name of it because you have to know somebody to get into the group. And if I mention the name, there might be a lot of people that try to go and add to it, and we vet everybody that goes into it. But it's a community of like hierarchy of people, scholars, like professors, scientists, well-off business people that have had experiences in their life with Mandela effects or things to that degree that have made them look into conspiracy theories or life in general and understand that there's more to it than they tell us. Like we were saying, Western civilization has been highly rewritten or manipulated to the degree to what they want you to know. And it's just like history. Like Christopher Columbus sailed the 7 seas.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, he didn't. No. He went to the Caribbeans. He actually discovered the Caribbeans and raped all the Indians there, and that's why we have no more Caribbean Indians. Shit. Well, I learned that he did. No, he didn't. So that's where it becomes a problem, because a lot of people that were in school aren't going back to school. A lot of people out there that are on the 9 to 5 every day, tired of their life, just go on Facebook or YouTube to just get themselves tired to go to sleep to wake up the next day, aren't looking into what's actually being said or written. So you look into Mandela effects, you go down those rabbit holes and start realizing, like, Luke, I am your father never was Luke, I am your father. Yes, it was. In my timeline, it was. No. So we never went into the definition of Mandela effect.
Yeah,
Mandela
we
effect, did. Man, I told you I can go on tangents.
So I apologize,
listeners. Mandela effects are things that occur in your lifetime that other people remember a different way. Yeah. So, for example, Luke, I am your father. If you remember it, Luke, I am your father, you remembered it wrong. Just like the countless other thousands of people that remembered it wrong that way. And there are multiple things and examples of different things changing now.
Glitches or whatever you want to call
Field
them.
of Dreams, build it, he will come. No, it's build it, they will come.
And heck, just the name itself, Mandela. So
yeah, okay, so that's why it's called the Mandela effect, is because the notion that Nelson Mandela died back in the 1980s. That's what I remember. That's what I remember in my timeline. And we say timelines because with quantum mechanics and science now, they're finding that there are alternate timelines, that we exist in one timeline, but at any given point in time, there are also infinite amount of timelines that exist at one time, and you exist in all those other timelines simultaneously also. So with, I don't know, quantum mechanics or CERN or whatever they're doing with the scientific researching and things that they do when they create microscopic black holes, whenever they recreate the Big Bang, different things that they do, they might be causing glitches. Or
did you I hate to interrupt, but a matter of fact, did you know that, the sun itself, we go through a portal every 8 minutes? So if you look at it, that's 480 different portals possibly you're going through every hour just from the sun itself. And I've seen
something like this on Facebook mentioned, but I didn't look into it. What is that? Why do we going through a portal?
So, all right, let me see. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but I believe it's some kind of magnetic thing coming from the sun itself.
A magnetic vortex?
Yeah, like the force from the sun itself.
Which, if you really think at it, we run off a binary sun system because our core is a sun.
Yep.
So our Earth has a magnetic force field that revolves around it. And this is why we have an atmosphere. So if the sun, interesting.
Yeah, so that's
I like
right
to do
there.
a lot of thought processes like that, throw brainstorming ideas, and sometimes it comes up with stuff, sometimes it doesn't.
So
But
yep, it's like I said, it's a magnetic portal and it connects to the earth. And yep, every 8 minutes when the sun is out, you're basically going through a portal. So if you don't think there's other possibilities, and
okay, so with Mandela effects, you start finding all these things, and you'll get people that just chalk it up to being a conspiracy because there is no definitive answer or reasoning why it is occurring.
yeah,
But I think it also has to do with the notion of Google algorithms and artificial intelligence, because of the fact that predictive analyzing dictates what you see in your feeds. So therefore, whatever you search, it's based upon your history. So you will never see, or you may never see what I search if we search up the same exact thing. Because my history in my search is different than your history. So we could both look up, for example, Mandela effects, but yours will be different than mine at that time. And so there's also the notion that at any given time, anything could exist.
yeah,
You could literally recreate a car from 1965 and want to make it a station wagon, and that then now exists, which never did before. But no, because there's a couple people doing it now that existed. And if you look up station wagon Mustang 1965, it's an actual thing. Like it existed back in 1965. But no, it didn't. That'd be the ugliest fucking thing there was. Now a Nomad, okay. Now there was like a Chevy one, like an Impala one, I believe, station wagon. Yes.
oh, yeah.
But a Mustang? No. Come on.
Yeah, and one of my favorite Mandela effects things was the Bernstein Bears.
Yeah. Okay, that's the one of the main ones that gets attention. Bernsteins or Bernstein.
Bernstein
It's
or
like
Bernstein.
C3PO, silver leg. Never had a fucking silver leg. What the fuck?
Yeah,
It was all gold. They represented him as a trophy because Luke saved the princess. So why would they just leave his leg silver? Oh, my bad. We didn't have all the parts. You know,
yeah,
we wanted to make him all shiny and new for you, but his leg? Nah, we didn't do that. What?
yeah.
No. Well, it's because they put a bomb in it, and it was because they were gonna bomb the Death Star, but they decided to change the storyline of the movies. What? No. And it's like these explanations they come up with, these anomalies that we see all the time now, like the news, like chemtrails. Oh no, that never existed. That's a conspiracy. Oh no, yeah, we've been doing it the whole time.
Been
Yep.
doing it for a long time, actually.
Oh yeah. Fucking Saudi Arabia princes do it, make it rain every single day because they're gods and have more money than
They need.
anybody, because their money isn't tracked. It isn't. They don't have to pay taxes. They don't have to account for it. So they literally have, I don't know what's higher than trillion, bazillion. We'll just say that. Bazillion dollars, and it accumulates interest upon interest upon interest upon interest. So, yeah, they just spend it for fun. That's why you see, what is it, Kuwait City? You have to spend $1,000 just to enter the city at the tolls.
So, yeah, throwing money everywhere, making it rain, basically.
They literally make it rain. Yeah, it's insane. So that's one of the things I do with my music, is one of the messages or topics that I really try to focus on is just opening up your mind and looking into things to see that nothing is like they say. And just because you're fixated on something doesn't mean that at any given instance it can't change.
Definitely, because like I said, we're going through portals every 8 minutes, people. Something is bound to change, and I always, preach on again about changing yourself. That's one
Definitely.
thing I always talk about. If you want to change
Definitely.
anything in the world, you have to start with yourself.
And you can't change anybody unless you love yourself. And you can't change anybody unless they want to be changed. It's just like you can't make anybody quit if they don't want to quit something. They gotta have the reasoning or the will or the want. And sometimes just loving them and being there for them can help them through it. I've had experience with a sister dying from heroin, and it was one of the hardest things that, upon many other hard things I've dealt with, but one of them, she didn't want to be helped. And you could force somebody, but they're just going to go back to it and they're going to relapse. And
definitely just
it's a poison.
Yep, and some people we don't know, they just can't get the message. So
I've dealt with a lot of friends that have been trapped with that demon. And it's really interesting. I got a lot of friends that are in that walk of life, that are dealers, that are, I wouldn't call them friends, acquaintances, I'd say, but that I've known from high school that have lived in that life, that still live in that life. Gang members, drug dealers. To me, it's like, if you're in that life where I can understand it, but if you don't grow and learn that that's only going to lead you in two places, no matter how good or no matter how suave you are or cunning or smart, it's only going to be so long before you get caught or go to prison or die. Three things, I guess. And only so many get out and retire from it and able to do other things and have a good life.
Just, you always have to reinvent yourself as part of the adapting and evolving as a person.
Definitely.
Can't just stay stagnant.
Definitely. That's what I've been learning with this music too. You get stuck in ruts, it's like writer's block, but I find that it's like motivation block, like getting in depression holes, like wanting to do something but depressed because you don't know what to do. And it's just, that's why networking and talking to other people and bouncing ideas off other people is like sometimes the best thing you can do.
Definitely.
Because sometimes just hearing somebody's outtake or idea on a concept could motivate you to do it that way too. Like hearing that Will Smith song that he did, that Joyner Lucas song, is just, oh man, I gotta be so hyped that now I want to do a song to like Hercules and Big Timer about how they influenced me. I'm trying to think how to do it.
Okay. Let's see, what mark are we at, man?
1:30.
1:30. All right. Yeah, well, I'll probably have to have you on again, man.
Yeah, definitely.
So anything go ahead and we can shout out your web page and social medias, and of course I will link all that up as well on my end. Okay,
so I have a website where you can pretty much find everything. It's just nevada.com. If you want to find me on social media with my music, it's Kaotic One. You can find me on Spotify, Deezer, Apple Music, pretty much any platform that music's streaming. YouTube, that's Kaotic One with a K and then 1ONE. And yeah.
Any shout outs you want to throw out there as well, man?
No, I just appreciate you having me on the show. Shout out Illimilly like I said, for helping me out with these albums and singles I've been doing recently. And my roommate for giving me a place to stay recently and helping me out. And times are hard through this quarantine stuff, and you got to be there for one another to get us through. So
Definitely. The only way we'll ever change anything is, like I said, changing ourselves. Others see that change and, they'll want to help you or
yep,
give you
definitely.
some kind of information that you didn't have before.
Definitely.
Oh, yep. This is on Kaotic One, and this is the It's Great Podcast Movement, or We Are Great Podcast Movement. And like I said, we'll definitely have them back on, and we'll see you on the next one.